All right, no messing around. And it's one of those days where we're going to be kind of flying here. Literally after what happened last night in Santa Clara, it is Thursday Thoughts. John here, you there. And in trying to figure out what we can do this morning, my guess is I'm going to go long. And it's because we got the Power Hour in hour number 2. We're going to talk about what happened yesterday. We're going to talk about what happened in Santa Clara in depth. We got to go over what happened here in Atlanta. We got to go over what happened in the middle game in Seattle. We got to get you ready for today. Got to go over news and go over things. That's the official term. And so because of what happened late last night on a couple of different fronts, we are going to have some reffing down here. We are going to have some analysis. We are going to look at highlights and numbers and things like that after we bring Bart Keeler in, because Bart's on a clock. Bart actually has like real world stuff that he's got to tackle, like, doctor's appointments and things like that. So Bart, technically, when he comes in and visits here in just a second, is going to be opening kickoff, brought to us by our friends at Black Pitch Coffee and blackpitchcoffee.com. Starting your day with the most important stories in the game, the right way to start your morning. Black Pitch Coffee, part of the SDH community, showing up at events all over Atlanta. Try their home blend made with beans from Brazil and Guatemala, heavy body, notes of walnut, semi-sweet chocolate, and a rich world-class finish. Opening kickoff, brought to us by our friends at Black Pitch Coffee and blackpitchcoffee.com. All right, no screwing around. Here's where we go when we catch up with Bart and we find out what's going on with Bart Keeler and the Soccer for US POD. And Bart, I'm actually surprised you have a voice. If you get us,
Good morning, John.
Yeah, all right.
That's my music playing.
I know you have a music underbed, but we don't have licensing issues that we've got with it. We don't have licensing.
What did we play? We didn't hear anything.
Yeah, we did. Yeah, really? I don't know what you're talking about. Couple of different.
It felt
things.
Great.
Yeah, well, I bet. First and foremost, how long do we have you?
I got to leave by like 9:35. So if I'm off by 9:30, we're good.
All right, so let's do that. All right. There we go.
I have a follow-up appointment for an orthopedist that I got to go see to make sure that my knee is mostly fine now, but we got to make sure the diagnosis is correct. And John, as you know, in this country, to get anything done in healthcare, you have to get a referral to get a referral to get a referral. And so the hope is to get a referral to physical therapy to help re-strengthen and rebuild the thing that I decided to kind of screw up a little bit while refereeing and playing soccer.
Yes. So I guess first and foremost, where were you yesterday or last night to partake in said match?
I was at Decatur Watch Fest. We were outside in the very hot and humid Georgia summer. I'm glad that we waited until the knockout rounds to have the steamy, hot cauldron that is Atlanta come around. So it was hot both in the air, and also, John, the atmosphere was just, it was electric at the end of that game.
Yes. Yeah, the boss was there. And also when you add the artificial surface that folks are sitting on looking at the big monitor, you have that thing that we circulate around 364-point-something days a year for a complete orbit. And you have all of that heat bouncing off of that welcome mat that comes up. And yeah, I made it there early second half to pick up the boss to make sure that she got a safe ride home. I know of which you speak, by the way, but Decatur Watch Fest does a fantastic job. That place was wall to wall last night, and it was loud.
It was.
Major kudos to them and to what they've been able to do. So, all right. Do you want to go to the moment and go reffing down here? Or do you want to start and just look at the match?
I think you can't talk about the match without talking about that moment, because it does fundamentally change the match. I don't want to say it. Well, no, it did fundamentally change the match, because I think while the U.S. was a little struggling in the opening of the second half, the reality is Bosnia had not done anything of note until that happened. And in fact, really the only thing of note they had been doing was deserving a whole bunch of cards before this that they weren't carded for, because the referee was absolutely atrocious throughout the entire 90 minutes. And I do think we need to say that that doesn't necessarily build my judgment of the decision for the red card to Flo Balogun, but it does kind of color the rest of the match, because that was one of the problems with the U.S. Well, one of the problems the U.S. had during the 90 minutes is that you had a referee who did not adjudicate this match fairly whatsoever until all of a sudden he decided that he wanted to put himself in the match. And, you know, I don't want to get too much into other games, but that was 2 matches in a row that VAR and referees decided to make incredibly borderline interventions on 2 decisions, one that actually did decide a match, and one that, very easily could have. And it's weird that we went all tournament long without a lot of VAR interventions, and we went all tournament long without, a whole lot of decisions like this being either overturned or even brought to the monitor. And now all of a sudden, in one day, we have 2 like this that are not clear and obvious errors. Let's just put it that way.
Right. So since we are in the moment and getting into reffing down here, if I am incorrect in my walking through of the play, let me know. What a lot of folks do not get the opportunity to see, and they're going to have to watch the match back, is that there was an initial hip check, or whatever you want to call it, on Balogun, which causes him to, lose balance, whatever. He's not straight up and down. He's not in an athletic progression position, whatever you want to call it. He ain't running forward. And so he gets bumped, and so he's coming down. But so then he comes down, makes contact. The ankle goes a direction it's not supposed to because of contact with cleat, and then it's reviewed. Now, if I'm not mistaken, it wasn't even viewed as a foul initially, correct?
Correct. Well, because this referee was not calling fouls at all last night. And so that's kind of my issue, is why all of a sudden are we coming to tell him, hey, you missed a foul? Because homeboy had been missing fouls all night.
Yes.
This second half leads off with the most obvious targeting foul that I think we've seen this side of the Mississippi since they invented that targeting foul, and that kind of is why I think the tone of this backlash for this red card is so intense, because we saw something that was a way higher level of, in my opinion, endangering a player, literally putting, going through a player's upper body, above the shoulder, because Eden Dzeko is, much taller than Tyler Adams.
Yes.
And just blowing through him. And there was necessarily no extension of the arm, but you could very tell the goal was to knock this player down.
He sized him up
in a very unsporting manner.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he seeking missiled him. He looked at him and said, I'm knocking this guy down.
Mm-hmm.
And for that to not be even called a foul or again reviewed, because we'll get to it, now, but there is the line in the laws of the game. A player who commits any of the following offenses is sent off. Serious foul play, violent conduct. Those are what we're looking at here. Okay. Maybe I'm crazy. Serious foul play, saying a tackle or challenge that endangers the safety of an opponent or uses excessive force or brutality must be sanctioned as serious foul play. What about that targeting incident? Wasn't that?
Yeah.
And so that's the issue we're having here, is the inconsistency. Once you went to VAR and you saw what happened, I think it was very clear Flo Balogun was going to get a red card, because this Brazilian referee decided that this was the moment that he needed to start controlling the match. Why? I don't know. He chose this moment of all moments when he had 60 more minutes before that to actually do something.
Yeah.
I don't know. But that's all of a sudden the time that he wanted to start controlling the match. But again, if you're telling me that is serious foul play, there was another moment in this match, which in my opinion was way more intentional in endangering the safety of an opponent, and nothing was done about it. So where's the consistency? And then the other problem we get into is the U.S. has suffered 2 fouls in play during a tackle for a ball that were way worse than what Flo Balogun did. They may not have resulted in a rolled ankle because the Bosnia player all of a sudden, after trying to throw his weight around, can't keep his own body under control. That's his fault, it seems like. But we've had multiple fouls in this tournament against us that were not adjudicated as red cards, that were worse, that involved studs to an ankle area, if not higher. Yeah. We've seen other fouls in this tournament where studs were higher than an ankle, messy, and nothing was done about it. So again, I think the issue is more, wait, why is all of a sudden this now not only a VAR intervention, which was probably an incorrect intervention, but then further, why was this all of a sudden now a red card?
And you end up now not having Flo Balogun for the next match because this is 66.4, I believe, in the FIFA rules regs, where it is not something that is reviewable. They can add games on, and then the United States, if that does in fact happen, the U.S. can challenge that. They cannot challenge the initial red card with Folarin Balogun going forward with the matchup coming up against Belgium. So that's where we are here in the Dzeko lowering of the shoulder and sizing up Tyler Adams. That got a lot of folks fired up, understandably so. And I literally, when that moment happened and it was finally posted where I could Zapruder it and look at it, you see Edin Dzeko look to his left, and it is flush left on the highlight. Literally, Edin Dzeko's on the left-hand side of the screen. He's looking to his left the entire time, and he sees Tyler Adams coming. And so then you have that contact, and Tyler Adams is down. And, and I give the U.S. a lot of points for restraint in that situation because that wasn't the time for a payback. And I'm waiting, payback can be whenever. You can wait for the next friendly or do whatever if that's how you're wired. See Red Wings and Avalanche.
Well, John, payback is you sent them home.
Yeah,
because they had nothing to do and had very little to offer in the terms of soccer, and so you sent them home.
So the U.S., you get the first goal, and then you're navigating it, and then you end up with 10. How did you think they navigated it with 10? And then obviously leading toward goal number 2 and Malik Tillman and his set piece and the confidence that the resident librarian. Oh, boy. So what did you think of them?
Stop being critical of FIFA, I guess.
Yeah, really. Well, so then what did you think of them playing with 10, and then you end up with the moment with Malik Tillman to get the second? Yeah.
Well, I don't think they started off with a great idea of what their individual roles were in the defensive shape, which kind of understandable when your striker goes down. Who's the outlet now? Who's supposed to be the highest up the field? Right. But I think more importantly, defensively, it was a little like, oh boy, we need to kind of retreat back into more of a 5 defender formation, or totally go into 4 defenders, depending on how you wanted to do it. If you want to do 4-4-1, but I don't think they really had a great understanding of what their roles were in that particular formation. It did get better once you were able to call them over for the 4th quarter break. And I think after that, you saw them look. Bosnia did not really offer too much. 8 shots, 3 on target, a quarter of an expected goal. So while XG is not a great single match metric, it does kind of show you that, they kind of got some shots off. Not a lot of them were really super challenging. And not a lot of them were inside the penalty area, which I think was the biggest thing for the U.S. is while Bosnia decided that, their best route to success was probably going direct and put the ball in the mixer type soccer. The U.S. defended that pretty well. So credit to Tim Ream, Chris Richards. Those guys were very good in the air, winning balls. After the fourth quarter break, put your fours up. I thought specifically McKinney and Tillman, not Pulisic just because I don't think that was his role, but specifically McKinney and Tillman reorganized themselves in the midfield, and that helped create a little bit more pressure on the Bosnian attack. We had a little bit better rotation, especially on the right side, trying to defend crosses. And look, a cross is not a great attacking plan, as we've seen from Atlanta United over the past few years, unless you're able to then capitalize on it. And again, I thought Bosnia, for the most part, was unable to really capitalize on it, despite having 6'6" oafs whose only job is to knock people down. They weren't able to do anything. And again, you have to credit Tyler, you have to credit Tim, you have to credit Chris, you have to credit Tyler, you have to credit Wes, Malik. Those guys in the side of the penalty area, especially, and then clearing out of the penalty area, really solid. Again, you did not give up a whole lot of chances. I mean, 3 shots on target when Bosnia is fighting for their lives. I think that does say everything you need to know about the defensive solidity that this team showed.
Yeah. It is early returns, but we do have the question, I think, from Abby. So who's striker? Is it Pepe?
Yeah. It's probably Pepe. That has been what Pochettino has shown us. I mean, even in this game, who comes on the field? Pepe. I actually think this game probably made a little bit more sense for Haji Wright, because he kind of is a better in transition counterattacking striker. But no, I think it's going to be Pepe. I mean, that seems to be what Mauricio Pochettino has shown. It's the most like for like we could probably get. It doesn't really create a whole lot of changes of how you would play to him or through him. And look, I don't think Pepe's had a fantastic tournament, but I also think he's a very capable striker who's shown, throughout a lot of his time to be able to find his way into the box and score goals for the U.S., which is what you're going to need, because Belgium's going to get gifted a goal or two by the referee, and you're going to have to be ready for
that. We'll have those highlights in a sec. So do you want to answer Alex's question?
Which one's Alex's question? Sorry.
Oh, not that one. Yeah.
I didn't have the chat. I didn't have the chat.
Why did Arsenal run set piece corners for all of world football? So Newcastle to Arsenal.
Well, I don't think we ruined it because we actually score off of it. Yeah, I think other teams ruined it for themselves by thinking they could pull an Arsenal and score off of set pieces.
What else are your takeaways from last night? We're going to hear from Mauricio Pochettino coming up in a sec after you had.
John, you've seen the movie Major League too?
Unfortunately, yes.
I love that movie.
But that's the thing.
There's a scene.
Major League in and of itself is fantastic. Major League 2 annoyed me because of Rick Vaughn and his, corporatization and all of that stuff. Major League 3, where they were on the farm in Charleston with Scott Bakula as manager, actually had some more character moments than I thought Major League 2 is. But proceed.
All right. Pedro Serrano is having trouble with, again, his slugging percentage and batting average and all those things. He's going through a long, arduous slump. And he finally kind of gets alive, and there's this scene where he and a couple other players are doing this celebration.
Marbles! Yeah.
But down lower.
Yes.
That's my tactical analysis.
Yeah.
That's my tactical analysis from last
Marbles.
night. That was the type of game. Because look, let's be real honest. You're in the knockout rounds. Tactics are whatever you need to do in that moment. That was the type of match you needed from that team at that point in time. I thought they did a good job in the first half of putting Bosnia's defense under pressure. Weren't really super fruitful, but in that first half, they broke that offside line, which was terribly constructed, by the way. I don't know how this Bosnian team made it this far, having a back line that looked like a freaking zebra stripe. It was terrible. We had a couple moments where we broke that offside line. I think Balogun's first goal that was disallowed was a little unlucky because he just didn't quite take a look over his shoulder to make sure he was where he needed to be.
Yep.
So I thought the team, especially in the first half, did a lot of good things to beat a Bosnian team that wanted to be defensively resolute and had zero interest in playing soccer, but had every interest in just knocking people around. Not to bring up refereeing again, but Bosnia is lucky that they didn't have a red card themselves, because there were multiple times that they should have been awarded yellow cards for fouls for stopping a promising attack, for dissent in reaction. I mean, they had multiple times where the guys just take the ball and run upfield because they're mad at the referee. And then finally, the first yellow card they get is because the coach decided to come on the field, which in itself could have been a red card, but we're not VAR reviewing that.
Right.
And that to me was, I think, a product of the U.S. frustrating Bosnia all night, because Bosnia had no answer for actual soccer being played out there.
And now
they're going home.
Yes.
So they don't really need to have an answer.
Yes.
And that's the thing. You move on. That's all that matters. You moved on. Malik Tillman, fantastic match. Glad he got that moment, that goal, because he's been great this tournament. And I think more importantly than anything, the team rallied around themselves, but I think they have a country now rallying around them. That's the type of win that galvanizes a fan base. And, you know, it's starting to feel like there's a lot of belief. The problem is, John, you do play a team that you don't have a great record against in the next round.
Yeah.
Now, they may be old and slow, but they just took your butt behind a woodshed, not just, 3 months ago. And that is a little concerning, but all that matters is winning. And what happened at the end of March doesn't matter. What happened last night doesn't matter. What happens on July 6th is you put more goals in the back of the net than that team from Belgium. And that's all that matters.
There you go. Please head to your orthopedist, and hopefully the wording and the pathway is a fairly decent one for you. So thanks for coming in and crashing really off the top, because after what happened last night, I'm like, hey, wait a minute, we need to bring you in. So we brought you in, and get out of here, go to the physician, and enjoy your cups and your licensed music in another place. So we'll see you Monday.
Unlicensed.
Yes.
No one heard anything.
Correct. So
we'll talk to you Monday.
So there goes Bart, everybody. And so Bart is going to be probably singing in his car for the next day or so. So thanks as always to Bart Keeler, especially for answering the bat signal. Get this. Big Papa Pump himself actually has a description about what happened. Bosnia walks into this match thinking it's 50-50, but they forgot to carry the USA, divide by freedom, multiply by America, and subtract all their confidence. Numbers don't lie, and they spelled disaster for Bosnia. Holla, if you hear me. So Big Papa Pump is registering his thoughts this morning. So if you didn't think the entire country was behind you, it is now, since Big Papa Pump is engaged. Thanks, as always, to Bart Keeler and the Soccer for US POD. And episode 148 will be posted later today, because I forgot to post it when it was supposed to be posted. So you get a bit of a flashback episode with Soccer for US POD 148. That's opening kickoff, brought to us by our friends at Black Pitch Coffee and blackpitchcoffee.com. Starting your day with the most important stories in the game, right way to start your morning. Black Pitch Coffee, part of the SDH community, showing up at events all over Atlanta. Try their home blend made with beans from Brazil and Guatemala. Heavy-bodied, notes of walnut, semi-sweet chocolate, and a rich world-class finish. Opening kickoff, powered by Black Pitch Coffee and blackpitchcoffee.com. All right, so since we are in this match in particular, let's go to the beginning and then work our way forward. There's a moment that we need to discuss, or at least to perhaps enjoy. And of course, I didn't post the silly thing. Hang on just a second. Did I? Where is it? Where did I file it under? Oh, here it is. Genius. All right. So you think you post everything that you need for the morning show, and you don't. So here is, once again, courtesy of our friends, and this is where we get our highlights from this morning, our friends at Telemundo Deportes. And when it comes to games themselves, you know that when you are in this situation, you always defer to Andres Cantor. So we defer to Andres Cantor in this particular highlight because it is goal number 2, second half, and we pay attention to the hold notes. Here's the call.
Esta es para Estados Unidos que juega con 10. Lo pisó Adam Stillman. Toma carrera Malik. Robinson con zurda. Frontal la carrera de Tillman. Ahí va Tillman. ¡Gol! Malik Tillman, sí, el gol más importante de su vida.
Very important goal for the match. The 2 hold notes for those keeping track. 15 seconds and 17 seconds. How the man has a lung capacity to do it, I will always wonder. So Tillman gets the goal. 15 seconds and 17 seconds, and it was 2-0 to the United States, and an entire nation could exhale. And that's how this goes. And Alex, that's so Alex, funny that even though we were watching on Telemundo, I didn't hear this because we're all too busy screaming and running around the living room, as you should, sir. As you should. Nothing like having, Malik Tillman is not an individual that is going to talk loudly. But there were conversations when he was asked about it. It's like, okay, so he and Jedi were wondering, it's like, okay, well, you could do this, you could do this, you could do this, you could go over. And he was getting a lot of question marks. Malik Tillman was getting a lot of thought bubbles on this one. Malik's like, no, I can get it over the top. And so he did, and you end up with the note that you got from Andres Cantor. And that is kind of how we are that is how we are wired in this tournament. We are deferring to Telemundo Deportes and Football de Primero Radio just because of the sheer emotion that is attached to it. And it's also a fun listen. So being able to have those kinds of moments, it's an easy one. Now, first and foremost, since it is officially a win, time to catch up with the head coach of the U.S. men's national team, Mauricio Pochettino. First and foremost, find out about what his thoughts are on the team themselves coming through with a victory and their emotional approach to this particular win.
Well, first of all, I think congratulate the player and the staff, all the people that make possible, to perform in the way that we were performed today. And then thank you to the fans. They were amazing one more time. We are so proud in behalf of all the staff, all the people. And in behalf of the player, it's a big thank you to the fans. We are so proud about them. I think, yes, was after the red card of Balo. I think we were talking in the cooling break, I think was weather break, about that now we need to show that we are a team, that we are united, and that was the moment to show to everyone and to show ourselves that it's not only empty words when we say that we are a family. And I think the team showed the qualities, the capacity to compete, to fight for each other. Yes, I think so proud about the players. They are the heroes. They are the principal actor, and they deserve all the credit.
So that was what Mauricio Pochettino thought about the effort last night in Santa Clara. He was asked on multiple occasions what he thought about the red card to Folarin Balogun. Here is his first response. See, he was asked further on down the line in the press conference about it. He did circle back to it a bit. But here's his initial response when he was asked about the Folarin Balogun red card.
For me, never is a red card. Watching after on TV, and never was the intention to step up of the player. That was a normal action in football that happened because by accident, and it's never intentional. That is why for me it's never red card. I think today in all the 50-50 decision, I think no one were for us. And the player, I think, reacted very well. We control that emotional part of the game that was so important. I think is to prize the player, because in the way that we control our emotional game, I think how they managed the situation was amazing and showed that we are mature enough to keep continuing, competing.
Mauricio Pochettino after the match. So let's get into the numbers of U.S. and Bosnia and Herzegovina from last night. So going into, I'm not going into team of the week because that's kind of a silly thing. So starting lineup once again for the U.S. Number 17 U.S., number 64 Bosnia and Herzegovina. So your starting lineup, Friesen net, left to right. Jedi Tim Ream, who wore the captain's armband. Chris Richards and Alex Freeman. Tyler Adams in front of them. And Fatmob has it listed as a 4-1-4-1, but we know that it's different. Midfield of, say, Destin Adams, if you want to put it that way. Then the three in front, McKinney, Tillman, and Pulisic. You can pull Tillman back, put him next to Adams, however you want to run it. And then up top, it was Folarin Balogun. Malik Tillman, obviously, grading out the highest on the day at an 8.5. Played the full 90, XG at a 0.19. XG plus the expected assists put him at a 0.31. 24-32 passing at 75%. 66 touches, 5 touches inside the opponent's 18, 2 successful dribbles, 4 passes inside the final third, 3 corners, 5 defensive contributions, 3 tackles, 2 clears, 6 recoveries, 1 dribble passed, 9 of 15 on his duels, 7 of 11 on the ground, 64%. He was fouled twice. So that's Malik Tillman, just to give you an idea. So let's go to the back line and break down. We'll go with the 4. We'll break down the 4. So Jedi Robinson, 69 touches in 90 minutes, 34 of 41 passing at 83%, 10 defensive contributions. And this is kind of what I want to get into also. 10 defensive contributions for Jedi Robinson, 7 passes into the final third, had 1 accurate cross, 1 tackle, 7 clears, 5 of them headed, 2 picks, 6 recoveries. 3 for 5 on his duels, and he was fouled once, and he did commit a foul himself. Tim Ream, 65 touches in the full 90 minutes, 49 of 56 passing at 88%. 6 defensive contributions on 65 touches. 9 passes into the final third, 4 accurate long balls on the day. 6 contributions, 5 clears, 3 of them headed, 1 pick, 3 recoveries. 2 for 2 on his duels. Chris Richards on 59 touches, 41 of 45 passing at 91%. 4 passes into the final third, had 1 accurate long ball, 11 defensive contributions, 2 blocks, 8 clears, 6 headed clears, 1 pick, 1 recovery. 6 of 8 on his duels, 5 of 6 in the air. Fouled once and committed a foul. Alex Freeman, playing the full 90, 82 touches, 59 of 61 passing at 97%. 4 defensive contributions, 2 for 3 on the dribble, 10 passes into the final third. 2 for 3 on long balls, 4 defensive contributions, 2 tackles, a block, a clear, 3 recoveries, and a dribble pass. 5 of 8 on his duels, 4 of 6 on the ground. So you're getting guys who are winning their duels in different ways. Chris Richards, 5 of 6 in the air. Alex Freeman, 4 of 6 on the ground. But the duels and duels won statistics, I'm going to get into that here as a part of our overview. So the stats in general, and they will be stilted, so there will be some that we're not going to get into, like time of possession. Total shots, 10-8 Bosnia-Herzegovina. Shots on target, 3-2. 23 U.S. touches in the opposition, 18 compared to 7. 2 big chances along the way. U.S. was accurate in passing. They actually only had 16 less completions than Bosnia and Herzegovina did the entire night, 84% to 82%. Total shots, 10-8 Bosnia and Herzegovina, 4 shots each off target. On target, 3-2. Blocked, 3-2. U.S. had 6 shots inside the 18 compared to 5. Bosnia and Herzegovina had 5 shots outside the 18 compared to 1. Accurate long balls, 17 for the U.S., 12 for Bosnia and Herzegovina. 3 accurate crosses compared to none. 23 touches inside the opposition 18, like we were saying. 20 fouls committed. That's the number that I'll use. 13 to Bosnia and Herzegovina, 7 to. So 7 fouls to the U.S., 1 red along the way. So Malik Tillman had the highest grade out at an 8.5. Then the entire back line registered north of 7. Jedi at a 7.8. Alex Freeman a 7.6. Tim Ream a 7.5. Chris Richards a 7.4. But if you add the back line and their defensive contributions total, it was 10 from Jedi, 4 from Alex Freeman, so that's 14. Tim Ream, 20, 31 defensive contributions by the back line yesterday that started the match. Yellows, none. Abby wanted to know yellows, just the 1 red. 7 fouls, no yellows, and the Balogun red. That's it. Duels, 47 out of the 80, so basically it was 34 of 59 for the U.S. on the ground, and then 13 of 21 in the air, which I find strange considering that you have the center backs for Bosnia and Herzegovina, 2 at 6'4", and the other one at 6'7". So when we were talking about it on Atlanta Soccer Tonight, last night, I was kind of half joking when I said just run underneath them. So that's why you saw a lot of crosses that were waist down and beyond toward the surface. You didn't see a whole lot of stuff in the air because you knew you were going to get outgunned. So those are your duels numbers. Edin Dzeko, at the age of 40, captained a nation 6 years younger than he is. Bosnia's 3 corner goals are the most any team in single World Cup since England of 2018. U.S. going in lost 7 of their 8 World Cup knockout matches in their history. Last World Cup against European opposition came 24 years ago in 2002. They won consecutive World Cup matches the United States for the first time since 1930, and that continued last night. So that's the statistical rundown. Goal by Balogun in the 45th, goal by Tillman in the 82nd, the red in the 64th. And so you had the United States playing basically, 36 minutes a man down in front of 68-8-27 in Santa Clara. So now the United States, they're going to get Belgium. Belgium last night, with the win that they got, was one of the more crazy ones that you could probably see. And I think that if you look at it, Belgium came from behind to win 3-2 on a Tielemans penalty in the 100 at 120 plus 5. You figured it was going to be a tight matchup anyway. Nino Torres joining us in about 15 minutes. Belgium wins at 3-2 Senegal, the number 15 team in the country, on the planet, sorry. Number 15 team on the planet, Senegal. They end up with 2 goals, 24th and 51st. Ismail Assar was now 6th, I believe. He had 5 goals in this tournament with the goal that he scored in the 51st. So then you're up 2-0 at the break. You're up 2-0 with 5 to go. Romelu Lukaku, and just make sure that, when you're discussing Romelu Lukaku, I can't think of an individual who has had so much promise and had to go into so many different locations and has been at the right place at the right time in key moments for whether it was club or country. So Lukaku scores in the 86th. It's 2-1. Then it seemed like Senegal legitimately was on their heels. They were this close to winning. Then it's 2-1, and then you kind of get that uh-oh feeling. And you could sense it in Senegal, and Belgium took advantage of it. 3 minutes later, you end up with this moment. Once again, courtesy of our friends at Telemundo. And you end up going from 2-0 down to even Steven in 3 minutes. Here's what happened in the 89th.
Centro de Trossard al área. ¡Gol de Bélgica! Apareció de cabeza Yuri Tielemans en el centro de Leandro Trossard. Salió mal el arquero que se equivoca. Nadie en la defensa la pudo despegar. Y el más bajito de todo gana por arriba. Yuri Tielemans, el capitán. Empate a 2 acá en Seattle.
Habíamos dicho, el arquero Moridió se había comportado a la altura. Acá me parece que sale de forma muy equivocada. Se queda a la mitad de camino.
And there you go. There's your goal that made it 2-2. They go into addeds, and Yuri Tielemans scores at 120 plus 5, and you end up right there with the Duke. Down 2-0, 2 goals, 3 minutes, 2-2. Yuri Tielemans, and yes, it was a penalty. At 120 plus 5, and that is the end of it. 3-2. Down 2-0 to come back to discuss what's going on there. 3-2 winner. They move on. They take on the United States. And we will go through all of that once again, all of that hype, all of that attention, all of those other things. That's going to be moving forward. But it is the USMNT going up against Belgium, Senegal, and I think that you found out first, and you were reminded anyway. You were reminded about everything that the consistency of the inconsistency of Senegal at times. You see it with Ivory Coast. You see it with Senegal. You see it with Ghana. It's like they could be gangbusters, and then a moment turns, and it's turned on that proverbial dime, and it could go the other way. And you saw that yesterday with Belgium and with Senegal in the round of 32. So hang on just a second. I'm discussing this on All Things Considered locally here in the Atlanta area later this afternoon. And so I'm trying to figure out topics. Yes. Let's see how the Ben, I know this is incredible television, in fan engagement, all turning. Okay. All right. So that is, all right. So that just trying to figure out what I'm going to talk about at noon. So we're going to do it at noon, and it'll be up later this afternoon. Peter Biello and myself on GPP's All Things Considered. So Belgium wins at 3-2. Tielemans with a brace. And it is 24th and 51st with Senegal 2-0 lead. Lukaku 89th. Tielemans 86th. Tielemans 89th, and then again at 120 plus 5. Crazy stats. Crazy stats. And expected goals, get this. Expected goals for Senegal, 3.58 to 1.74. Total shots, 38, 19 and 19. And 5 shots on target each. 37-30 touches in the opposition box. Big chances 6-3 for Senegal. Big chances missed 4 from Senegal. Once again, the blessed inconsistency. Total shots 38, shots off target 11 and 9. 5 blocked shots of Belgium on the day. 11 shots inside the box compared to 10. Then I'm looking at the duels that were won, 62-55. That one went to Belgium. And you have successful dribbles, 11-9. Aerial duels, period. Ground duels, 40-34 Senegal. Aerial duels, 28-15 to Belgium in this one. So 22 fouls committed by Belgium. 12 for Senegal. Just to let you know their starting lineup probably will end up being the same when the two teams connect again. Thibaut Courtois in net. De Kuyper, Tiate, Michel, and Castagna in the 4-2-3-1. Tielemans and Van Aken, the two in front of them. Trossard, De Bruyne, and Doku. And then De Ketelaere, who was awful. De Ketelaere was pulled at the break. 4 of 6 accurate passes, 16 touches. 5 touches inside the 18. No successful dribbles, no accurate crosses, dispossessed twice. Defensive contribution 1, had a tackle, 1 of 5 on his ground duels, and he did not win his aerial duel. So De Ketelaere, who punched a 5.8 in FOTMOB. 5.8. I can't remember last time that you had a position player in a game that was as competitive as it was. Punched a 5.8. Charles De Ketelaere, 45 minutes, pulled at the break, 16 touches. He was not successful. He did not have a successful day. Then Lukaku came in for De Ketelaere. Things kind of changed. Then you end up with Raskin, Luka Bacchio, who had an opportunity late and airmailed it. Diego Moreira came in, Meunier came in, Amadou Onana came in, and that was because remember when you go north of 90, you get an additional sub. So each team pulled the 6th sub. But Lukaku came in for De Ketelaere, kind of changed things around a little bit. Lukaku finished with an 8 on 19 touches, playing 75 minutes, 10-13 in his passing. 2 chances created. 19 touches, 3 inside the opponent's 18, 1 pass inside the final third, 1 defensive contribution, a clear, and a recovery. And then he was 3 of 4 on his duels. So do not be surprised if for Rudy Garcia, Romelu Lukaku gets the start. But we saw what Belgium could do. We saw them here at when it was Mercedes-Benz Stadium, the good old days. In a friendly almost 4 months ago. Tielemans, by the way, wrapped up with a 9.1, got the highest number for the Belgian side, 87 touches, played the full 120, and this is something that you're going to have to kind of keep an eye on here as well. So Tielemans played the full 120. 54-65 passing, 1 chance created, won the penalty creation late, shots on target 2 for 3 in shots, 2 defensive contributions, 87 touches, 7 inside the 18, passes into the final third, 7 of those, 3 accurate long balls, 0 for 5 on his crosses on the day, 2 defensive contributions, a tackle, a pick, 6 recoveries, a dribble pass, and he was 8 of 14 on his duels. Committed 4 fouls and was fouled twice himself. So you end up with De Kuyper playing 78 minutes. Tiate played the full 120. Michel played the full 120. Castagna played the full 120. Tielemans played the full 120. Van Aken played 63. Doku played 56, and this was when Garcia was trying to turn the engine over. De Bruyne played 56. Trossard played 109 of the 120, and then De Ketelaere was subbed out for Lukaku. So Three of your four on the back line played the full 120. De Kuiper played 78. Tielemans played the full. Trossard, for all intents and purposes, played the full. He played 109 minutes. But then Van Aken gave you 63 before he was pulled. De Bruyne 56 before he was pulled. Doku the same. De Ketelaere was swapped at the half. So keep an eye on those numbers too, and you can kind of gauge where the physios will become incredibly important, and we will see that. We'll see that with the matchup coming up. All right. Before Nino Torres joins us, I want to get into, obviously, what to watch, where to watch it, how to watch it from our friends at Fanatis, fntz.co/soccer down here. That link is important. It helps them, helps us, and helps you. Add to the streaming services that you have and add to the games that you've wanted to watch and might not have had a chance to do so. You can get TV out of Venezuela, but if you have a cable system here in the Atlanta area, then you probably can get it for free as a part of your Hispanic package. Just saying. CDO Plus out of Chile. Liga 1 Max Pro out of Peru. Teisei out of Argentina. You get all the BNs, which means you get Libertadores, Sudamericana, links to CATV, links to Tigo Sports, plus everything Middle East and North Africa. Everything CAF, AFCON, the whole schmear. You get that. That is what you can get at Fanatis, fntz.co/soccer down here. Today, as we slide past everything that was up and running. So today, USL League One is on the Deuce at 9:30 from Boise. One Knoxville goes to Boise. That's going to be a fun one. Big FOX has Spain and Austria at 3 and Portugal and Croatia at 7 Eastern. FS1 has Switzerland and Algeria at 11 for the after dark knockout stages. Telemundo has all 3. ESPN Plus has USL Championship, Birmingham Legion, and Detroit City. That's at 8 o'clock. Fox ONE has Spain, Austria, Portugal, Croatia. Peacock has all 3, the 3 o'clock, the 7 o'clock, and the 11 o'clock tonight. So let's get you into the juice boxes for the 3 matches, see if there is anything that is different. In the World Championship, Spain, big favorite at 3 o'clock at a minus 345. Draws a plus 475. Austria is a plus 1100. Portugal, night side, a minus 141. That margin has kind of gone up a little bit from like minus 135. Draws a plus 280. Croatia is a plus 420. Late night, Switzerland, dead even. Even money plus 100. That's gone down. Draws a plus 225, and Algeria is a plus 340. Let's see. The Portugal-Croatia match is a part of Picks of the Week in the Medio. If you are in the Discord, you can be a part of Picks of the Week in the Medio because the winner of the Aperture, the winner of the Medio, and the winner of the Clausura will meet for the Campeón de Campeones for 2026. 8 events tied to MLS Cup. That's what we're doing. But the Medio is World Cup exclusive. We'll get the winner here. Then the Clausura starts after the World Cup is over. We go all the way into the MLS Conference Finals to determine Clausura champion. Those 3 go into the Campeón de Campeones, and you get a high and hearty handshake if you win the Campeón de Campeones in 26. And then we take a hiatus on Picks of the Week until the sprint season in 27. So that's where we are. All right. Really quickly, do we have enough time for gossip, rumor, and innuendo? I will check and see. A couple of things just before we go into it in depth. Keep an eye on Diego Luna because it appears that Rayados is pursuing Diego Luna. And it is a hefty price tag. First round was turned down by RSL, but we're going to keep an eye on what is desired from all the parties that are. And it is going to be a look. So we're going to go over Ben Jacobs and his thoughts here, but we'll go back and circle to Diego Luna. So Everton confirmed Hayden Hackney's joined from Middlesbrough, 5-year deal. Fee is 16.5 plus $8 million in add-ons, and that's in pounds. So Manchester City confirmed Elliot Anderson has joined from Nottingham Forest, 116 million pounds fixed. Anderson assigned to 5+1. Spurs confirmed Mateus Fernandes has joined from West Ham for an 85 million pound fixed fee, and he's holding up the jersey. So I'm guessing he might have already signed the contract, so we don't get the pen hovering over the contract and a smile on the face. We get him holding up the jersey. Bournemouth have agreed on a deal with Elche for Alvaro Rodriguez worth £22 million. Uruguayan international is going to fly in for formalities. Early this morning, overnight, our time, early morning in England. Tonali is in London today. He's in Newcastle to formalize his 92.5 plus 7.5 move to Spurs. So 100 million total, 92.5 plus 7.5 million in add-ons. So Sandro Tonali to Spurs for $100 million. So that is the roundup from our buddy Ben Jacobs, and we'll keep an eye on all of those. Let me see if there's anything else that we might have missed. Oh, Louis van Gaal has stepped down as advisor to the supervisory board of Ajax. He informed the supervisory board of his decision. Van Gaal had been advising the supervisory board on football-related matters since October of 23. So that is in play. But it also makes you wonder, it also does make you wonder, could he be next for the Netherlands? Please restrain your laughter. So we'll keep an eye on that. But Cesar Luis Merlo was the one who had broken the news on Diego Luna. MLS club rejects the first proposal, deeming it insufficient. Negotiations are ongoing. Rayados could improve the offer to seal the signing. So that is Rayados and the Vamos show with Cesar Luis Merlo. So we'll keep an eye on that as a part of everything that is going on in the news department this morning. And so there are there's a lot of talking points just in the news blurbs and the highlights section where folks are saying that VAR made a recommendation on slow motion and still replays, which is not aligned with VAR protocols. If you are, and I'm going to look at this. So right now, for tickets for England and Mexico at the Azteca. So let's find out and see if the number has increased from where it was originally posted. Now, if we go to our favorite secondary ticket market, let's go there. So if we go to the secondary ticket market and we look at activity, no, I don't want 15% off my first purchase because I'm not purchasing. If we go and we follow along, where is it? Is it not even available? It might not even be available. Okay, so that doesn't seem correct. That does not seem correct. So, all right. So BBC went looking for tickets. And our friend Dale Johnson went looking as well. So the allotment before the draw, England Supporters Travel Club given an allocation of 4,000 tickets at the 80,824 stadium. Before the match against DR Congo kicked off, only 250 tickets were listed, which went up to 273. Overnight number rose to 429. Many tickets listed in the supporter value categories behind one of the goals. So face tickets in Category 1. Face tickets in Category 1, $12.12. This is all in pounds. Resale $32.68. So basically, you're looking at a triple markup plus a FIFA fee of £500. All right, so now I'm in one of the secondary ticket markets, and the get-in is $3,800 including fees, and that's to be in the 600s for this matchup. If you want to, you can drop $17,180 on a ticket to be in the lower level. You can drop $11,455. You can drop $14,176. You can drop $17,180. And I imagine they're sweet tickets. But the get-in is $37.66. And you cannot pay me enough to go sit in section 666 and still pay that $37.66. We'll keep an eye on this one. But it is now after 10 o'clock. And we know what that means. that means that I have topics I haven't seen, and we go places that I might know about a little bit, but not a whole lot. And this is why we check in with our friend Nino Torres, who you could tell. I was looking at Nino in the green room, and it's almost like he's at the stoplight and he's revving the engine. He's got a stick shift, and you're revving that engine, and then when the light goes green, you want to slam it into first, and you want to squeal the tires and everything. Yellow, yellow, yellow.
Yellow, 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 soccer down here, fans, and welcome to this fantastic Thursday. Because what?
Tiggy's World Cup song.
Yeah, no, Marcelo, go, drink out, Fernandez, rolling out.
Oh my God, that's
Original.
Oh my God. Oh my God.
All right, brother. I'm all pumped up for today, man. You can tell, right? It's just a little bit.
Just a little bit.
I mean, Portugal. It's just. I mean, it isn't the topic. We'll talk about it, but I gotta say something.
Mm-hmm.
So far, this World Cup has been fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
It's been just phenomenal in every possible angle. 48 teams. I'm all for it. I don't want 64, by the way. I heard that story that they want to be 64. Yeah, 64 is, yes, that's too much. That's just too much. But it kind of lines up again with March Madness. It could be something. If they do something like that, only knockouts. I don't know. It might work out. Now I'm sold on the 64 teams. You're delusional. What's going on with you? I don't know. But I'm so happy, and I'm excited, man. It's just, Johnny, this is an amazing World Cup, man. Mm-hmm. Amazing World Cup. We got drama, we got controversies, we got everything. And of course, the superstars. Mm-hmm. This is the World Cup of the superstars. There's not a single World Cup since I'm watching the World Cup since 1982 that I remember that all superstars shine at the same time. I never seen that one before. Mm-hmm. And I don't know about the 78, 74, 70 because I wasn't around. But I was around, but just I couldn't even talk. But anyway.
Yeah. I just have this like a 4-year-old sitting there watching the World Cup.
Yeah, I got a fantastic memory, but I don't recall when I was 4. Yeah, I don't. So since I remember the first cup that I watched was 1982, I don't recall any competition like this where every superstar showed up the way that they're showing up.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for me, my first one was Copa del Mundo Mexico 86.
All right, that was great. That was awesome, man. Awesome.
Mm-hmm. That was where I was first exposed to Tony Tirado and everything that Telemundo brought to the table, and that was my start. Just watching it all day long, and they're going game. I was digging it. So that was my first. The topics that you have, sir, you have 6 topics.
Yes.
All 3 hosts are through, but the USMNT will miss a key player, and we've been talking about it all through hour number 1 with your question. Was that a red card? The answer is hell no, but please, sir, all 3 hosts are through.
Yes, that's the beautiful part. And not just they're true in fantastic fashion, Johnny. All right, there's not like that because every single time that we have a World Cup, the hosts they have their path is kind of easier than the rest, right? It's kind of like a very friendly group, and they usually advance into the next stage, but this time they're all 3. They earned their spot in the next round. In what way? My God, Mexico, superb. They destroyed Ecuador. They just they put Ecuador 6 feet under. They put Ecuador 18 feet under. Oof. And that just it was a machine. Mexico was a machine. Also, Ecuador, I don't know what happened to them. that's I don't know what's that effect called when you after you achieve something spectacular, you kind of still in that movie that you watched, and this is a different movie, this is a different field, this is new, brother, and you have to win to survive, and they were not there, and I know we're talking about the host, but I want to say a little bit of Ecuador because all the hate that Becassis is getting now, all the hate that Ecuadorian media, oh my God, they are just mean. You know, the mean girls went on steroids. The mean girls on steroids. It's just like you're watching the high school bullies going after the. What are you talking about, brother? I mean, because he did the right thing. He put the right players. They just could score. They just could score, and on top of not scoring, there was the best defense in CONMEBOL showed up as the worst defense in their worst way, the worst performance from Ecuador against Mexico. So I would not blame on the coach. And honestly, I would not blame on the coach. If I were the president of the Ecuadorian Federation, I would extend the contract to this guy and to keep working and keep searching and keep bringing the things that he brought to the table. They forgot that they qualified when they enter the tournament with a -3, and they finished second with Argentina and Brazil and Colombia in the same group. Are you kidding me? And you are complaining about this guy? That's where the chauvinism takes place in Ecuador. I want to say to my friends from Mexico, I love you guys, but you and the Ecuadorians are the most chauvinistic media in the entire continent. These are the two nations that they're the kings of chauvinism, and that really hurts. It really hurts the impact, the national team and everything else. But back to the host. I have to derail a little bit, right? Back to the host. This is the most impressive U.S. men's national team that I ever watched, Johnny. This is I don't recall a team, a U.S. men's national team playing with this dynamic. And everybody talks in the U.S. about, why do we have our best athletes playing soccer? These are your best athletes. This is the most athletic national team that I've ever seen. And this is what Pochettino understood about the American soccer player. They're athletes. So I want them to play like an athlete. I want to turn this team into an athlete of 11 heads. And that's what he's doing. And that's how this team is performing. The way that they're going through the transitions, they're just like going 100 miles an hour. They're opening fields. They work on the seams. It's just like the variety of options that Pochettino brought to the table for the U.S. men's national team. You guys, I mean, I don't know what's going to happen with the team this year, but this guy should stay for, I don't know, 10 years. I'll give Pochettino a 10-year contract and watch what happens, because only in 2 years, this is what he brought to the table. No other coach had the men's national team playing like this. No other coach. You can talk about Bruce Arena, you can talk about Berhalter, you can talk about whoever you want. But no other coach has brought the level of performance that Pochettino brought for the U.S. men's national team. This is the best team ever, period. I don't want to... you want to fight with me? Come on, fight. Because you're going to lose. How are you feeling, Johnny? How are you feeling about your team? How are you feeling? How are you guys feeling about this team? This is my view, but I want to see your view.
For me specifically, we've, in certain circles with, hometown teams and things like that, one of the things that has always been missing for me is two things: aura and garra.
All right.
And you're seeing those now, where Christian Pulisic, he's got that aura about it. And it's just like, he's not getting wrapped up in any kind of hype talk or anything like that. It's just, all right, locked in, let's do the thing. and we're not going to get too high about it, not going to get too low about it. We're going to navigate what's going on in front of us. You're seeing a great collective defensively, and you're seeing where Pochettino wants to have folks stay at home. He wants to have them go forward. The wingbacks are turning into offensive trouble. You're seeing those societies that we always like to talk about, the triangles on the left and the right. And for me, one of the things that I've always been bugged about, and this goes club, whatever, if one of your guys gets bumped, popped, fouled, cleared out, cleaned out, for the longest time in a lot of the clubs that I've been attached to, you haven't seen the other guys come up and back your player. It's like, one of our guys gets knocked down. It's like, yeah, okay, yeah, all right. Now you're seeing a collective answer. One of our guys,
you see the brothers in arms. That's what you see.
Yeah, and so to be able to see that and to witness that, and to have Mauricio Pochettino share not only love but attention and understanding the value of family. And that to me is invaluable when you've got that. When you know that when one of your family members, one of your brothers gets knocked down, that everybody else is going to come after you. I mean, like I said, it's not quite like the Untouchables movie where Sean Connery says they send one of yours to the hospital, we send one of yours to the morgue. It's not that bad, but it's the same kind of answer. It's like, we're not going to take any ish from anybody. You knock down one of us, the rest of us are going to come calling. And that's cool for me to see that kind of brotherhood.
And that you mentioned family. You remember that movie with about Michael Orr, right? Yeah. With Sandra Bullock. What's the name of that movie? What's
Blindside? The Blindside.
Blindside. When Sandra Bullock pulls out the kid out of the field, and the kid was not understanding how to use his force, and he says, "You see this guy? He's your family, right? Mm-hmm. The coach is your family. You understand that?" And then he clears out. Oh, okay. This is what it's all about. And that's exactly what was happening with Pochettino and the U.S. men's national team. Because also Pochettino, in a recent I don't know if it's a recent interview, I heard it this morning. He values relationships more than tactics. All right. So if the group is united, if everybody's on the same page, if everybody feels like there's a family, we can work it out. But if he works out that part for us, the emotional part, the relationship part, more than anything else. Of course, he's a freak when it comes to tactics, but he values this. And this is what you got. This is you see it on the field, you see it on the pitch, you see the aura, you see that. The eyes, Chico. The eyes don't lie. The eyes never lie.
We all lost our faith in Belgium, but they play a rerun of the 2018 party. But they're also 8 years older, dude.
It's just ridiculous, man. Ridiculous. How did that happen? There was like no way. I was watching the game, and everybody was complaining, why Lukaku is not playing? Why Lukaku is this? And then Lukaku got in. And then Lukaku got in, and that guy, he's a lovable dude, man. I mean, he's ginormous, man. But the way his footwork for us, what is he? He's 6'5". I think he's like, I don't know how he's 6'5", 225 or something like that. To check it out, Johnny. I think he's 6'4", or 6'5".
Efforting,
but I think he's like, I don't know. He's downsided now. He was bigger before, but
listed at 6'3".
6'3". All right. So, yeah, 6'3". So yeah, I'm right. He's 6'5". Yeah. He's 6'5". Yeah. And it's just ridiculous because this is what separates still separates national teams that they have history in the World Cup and national teams that they don't. I don't care what you say. I mean, and the only probably there every World Cup there's a team out of nowhere that makes a deep run like Morocco. This is not the case with Morocco this year. Morocco this year it's a scary team too. I don't think that anyone wants to face Morocco. But putting Morocco aside, we're talking about the Japans of the world, talking about the Congos of the world, talking about Cabo Verde of the world. I don't know what's going to happen tomorrow, but I'm going to be cautious watching that game too. I'll be cautious watching that game too. I'm not. All the Argentina media is, oh yeah, it's a piece of cake. Yeah, we're going to win this game, with our eyes closed. I don't think it's going to be like that. I don't think so. But back to the Belgian game. When it comes to the level of competition that these guys are coming from, when it comes to players that understand what's to win in the World Cup, what's to reach the semifinals of the World Cup, it takes a toll on the opponent. It takes a toll on the opponent. It takes a toll on Japan. It takes a toll on these teams. Are like they believe that they are there, but then they just for 4 or 5 minutes they lose their focus, and that's when the big teams come right up and they buy you in the rear end. And I say 4 or 5 minutes, please. I understand that we have all this technology now, all these the avatars and the offsides, but momentum. All right, you can't quantify momentum, please. Okay, you show me the map. Oh, this is the momentum. Change the momentum. No. Get rid of that, brother. There's no way that you can quantify the momentum. Momentum is a piece of time that when the energy changes, you can't read that with a machine. You can't read the energy changing. You can read you might change those metrics that they're showing, changing the momentums. It's a possession. That's possession. That's not momentum. The momentum doesn't flip like that. No. It takes place in one certain space and time that the energy shifts. And you can't quantify that. Please, guys, just get rid of those metrics because no. And the momentum is what got Belgium into the next round. Exactly.
So then you mentioned momentum, and England certainly had that. They DR Congo got that first goal, and that building got deflated. I mean, it got quiet. It's like somebody took a pin to the balloon and just went. Pfft. But then Harry Kane, Anthony Gordon, the substitution for Gordon.
Yeah,
as you refer to it, Harry Kane, period, in all caps.
I don't think that you need to hear this, but I'm gonna make you hear it anyways. Okay.
Yeah.
I know it's all about numbers. I was just mentioning, not talking about numbers, but I'm gonna mention the numbers so everybody that is listening now knows exactly what we're talking about when we refer to Harry Kane. Harry Kane, the king. He's the England all-time top goal scorer. He's the England all-time World Cup top goal scorer. He's scoring 7 goals at the Euros for England. He's the highest scoring Champions League Englishman. He's the first Englishman to score 50 Champions League goals. He won 3 Premier League Golden Boots. He won 3 Bundesliga Golden Boots. He scored 25 plus goals in 6 different seasons. He scored 213 Premier League goals, 72 goals this season. He's the World Cup Golden Boot, the Euros Golden Boot. He's got 500 plus senior career goals, and he just saved England against DR Congo. It's just, I think we all, I'm including myself on this. We undervalue Harry Kane, which is undervalued. I think he's the most undervalued. I want to say striker, but I want to say player, not just striker, player in the world. And he should be a top 3 name when it comes to the Ballon d'Or conversation this year. Top 3.
Absolutely.
I don't know if he's going to win it, but of course, if England wins the World Cup, that the conversation is over. But he's right up there, and it's crazy that in England there's a lot of people that has not concerns. They're against Harry Kane. Oh no, why are you using Harry Kane so much? Oh, why Harry Kane doesn't leave the pitch? Because of this, because of moments like this, because he's your captain, because he's a leader, he is a warrior, and he's an absolute England legend. I was talking to my friends that since I'm going to refer to 1982 again. This is the best Englishman player that I've seen in my life.
Wow.
It was Gary Lineker, like he said, not Lineker. We will say Lineker, but Lineker first. But he's the best. I haven't seen. I didn't get the chance to watch Bobby Charlton. So Bobby, yeah, I'm not talking about it. I'm not going into the Hendrick conversation. Why did Hendrick put up that name? Bobby Charlton. Maybe your grandpa watched Bobby Charlton, but anyway, he is the best Englishman that plays soccer ever.
Wow. I'm gonna hang on to that one. I'm gonna hang on to that one from you. Also on the board this morning, the next topic: France against all curses. They're cursed.
Yeah, there's the the curses of the World Cup.
Okay.
All right. These are the curses, right? The number one FIFA in the ranking never won the World Cup. That goes for Argentina. All right. The team that has the Ballon d'Or winner never won the World Cup. Who's the Ballon d'Or winner? Ousmane Dembele. Okay. But that's against that. Not a single team in the history since 1982 again, because that's when the groups got to 6 groups. Came from Group F. Check the Group F, Johnny. They're all out now. It was the Netherlands in that group, but every single team from that group is out, including the Netherlands that were. The favorites by that German guy that said that Netherlands was going to win it. So you're wrong, buddy. You're wrong.
What happens when you trust
things? And forget about all the curses. France is an absolute machine, man. France is the scariest team in this competition. No other team got the level of veracity that France has. And I was hearing to this guy say, "Oh yeah, but the defense. What about the defense, brother? What are you going to tell me about the defense? They just don't flinch. They cover all the ground. They fly. They do everything. It's the best team in the competition, and that's the other curse that is not here. Nobody has mentioned that. That's my curse. And the Nino Torres, the Nino Damos curse. That only 2 times the best team won the competition. The best team from the get-go, right? And those 2 times, the champion was Germany. 1990, Germany was an absolute machine. They destroyed everyone. And they got into the finals. They got an final. Don't want to play a penalty. And then in 2014, we all remember, especially Brazilians remember, especially Brazilians remember 2014 what happened there. So those are the 2 World Cups that I remember where the best team won. Because in all the other ones, the best team did not win. 1982 was Brazil's best team on the pitch. 86 was Brazil on the pitch too. 1990, who was the best team? Well, I'll say that. But 94, Argentina was the best team in that 94. 1998, Brazil was the best team in overall the competition, but France ended up winning. So the team that displayed the most dominant performances on the pitch did not win. Only 2 times they won. So on both times was Germany, and I think might be this time for France. Might be. They're close, but this is a competition that you never know. But we'll see. We'll see what happens. So, but on top of that, not just the performance, they got the leadership of the Deschamps. The Titi Henry put it like this, because he's a serial winner. Why he hasn't done that job for long? Because he's a serial winner. and he thinks like a winner, believes like a winner, dreams, eats, walks like a winner, and he gets that into the roster. And of course, plus they got the best offense planet, the universe. With Mbappe, Dembele, Michael Olise playing at the. Michael Olise is my favorite player right now in the planet.
Okay. And happy to be here. FC Crystal Palace had him, and they couldn't hang on to him. And now he's hanging out with dictator Mbappe, and you're seeing what's going on. I don't know about you, but when things go to penalties, even if I'm not attached to one of the two teams, my stomach gets in absolute knots.
Tell me about that, bro. Isn't that exciting? I mean, you don't know what's going to happen.
No.
You don't know.
No.
Okay? It could be the best striker on the planet that has scored 150,000 goals, and he goes out there and misses, right? Best player in the planet against an okay goalie, misses, right? Talking about Roberto Baggio, talking about Platini, talking about Zinedine Zidane, talking about all the great ones. When it comes to the penalties, it's even. It's all even, brother. It's you and the goalie and you. And if the goalie gets it right, that's it. That's it. Okay? And of course, if you strike the ball properly, that's it. The goalie can do whatever. He can fly. But if you put it up there in the corner, there's no way that he's going to touch the ball.
Nope.
Okay? No way. And to all my... Man, these conversations, man, they're going nuts on X, brother. Oh yeah, why are they playing so much? Why do people go play 3 extra times? Why do they run? How about they playing? No, brother. For all my my fellow Americans that are watching this for the first time or not first time or second time or whatever, all your ideas already been tested out. Already been tested out. You playing the next day? That happened already in the 30s, right? We played in the World Cup in 1934. We got the 2-3 games that played in 2 days. We already tried that. Oh, how about playing that? Yeah, we already tried that. How about this? Yeah, we already tried that. Yeah, all the ideas that are coming up right now in 2026, they're all. But there's only one. There's only one that we get. But that's why I put in there. However, I love the golden ball, the golden goal. I love the golden goal. I love the golden goal when it happened. They use it only once, or they use it. I think it was 2 cups, 98 and 2002. I'm not sure if the 2002 was the with the golden goal. I think it's only one. But for me, it was it was sensational. I think that's a great idea. I don't think it's coming back, but for now. Penalties are, if you want drama, this is the best drama possible you can get, and that's the best and the most fair way to decide a game. There's no other way fairer than this one. Okay, guys, thank you.
And today, I'm not sold on Portugal. I'm really not. I think Spain gets through, but I think that Croatia can make it difficult for Portugal.
Of course. Of course, it will be. I think I don't want to say without a doubt because they've been fantastic games, but this could probably potentially be the best game that we're going to see so far in this World Cup.
Wow,
Portugal versus Croatia.
Wow,
because it will have everything that you asked for. You got drama, you got 2 captains, you got leaders, you got great players, you got 2 coaches that are going against each other. It's you got all the ingredients for the to be the best game because Croatians, they're fighters, man. They are absolute fighters, and you make sure that when you take it down, make sure that they're not getting up, because if they got up, they will beat you. All right, that's what it gets. And I watched that documentary from the captains, and Luka Modric, an absolute leader for Croatia on his last World Cup, the last World Cup for Ronaldo. I mean, everything is right up there on the table. But having said that, this is the 2 things that I want to say about Spain and Portugal.
Mm-hmm.
I think they're going to show the true colors today, and if we're gonna understand why they're title contenders, is it because today's performances?
Okay.
That's what's going to happen, and I'm pretty sure that they will not disappoint.
Okay.
That none of the two teams will disappoint today in their matches, and I think that both teams are going through to the next round.
Okay. So we are 2 weeks away from probable travel plans.
I know.
We gotta get travel plans all squared away. So just when you know, let me know. And you obviously know that when you buzz me at like 11:30 at night about a late game, you're like, I gotta come on in the morning. I gotta come on. Yeah, okay, yeah, that's fine.
Yeah.
No worries on my part.
I mean,
Everybody follow Nino the Baker on the IG, the Insta, and all the things ESP and Nino 74 on the Twitters and all that stuff. And so it's always great to see you, my friend. And I always love catching up with you virtually. And it's always a blast to break bread and share what's going on, or in your case, break desserts and add pounds, because it's always a blast to see you, my friend. And I heard the polizei behind you, and I'm hoping that they were chasing after other folks and not you this morning. So
hopefully not, man. I'm okay, guys. I didn't do anything wrong. I'm just talking here now. Thank you, Johnny. Take care, man.
There you go, Torres, and it's always great to catch up with him, because Nino the Baker, he knows his ish, and FuboTV, the voice of the Portuguese Liga. I mean, we're having transfers in the league, and I haven't even had the chance to basically ingest those, because there's talk about, we're getting close to transfer windows and everything. And so you got folks leaving Sporting and heading into mainstream Europe. I haven't even had the chance to talk to them about that. And we just did like 32 minutes on the World Cup, because he always gives me topics. And literally it was 32 minutes and we flew. And we didn't even get into domestic talk about Portugal, because World Cup is bang on topic number one. Boom, there you go. So that's where we at. But it's always great to catch up with him. And yes, we are trying to finalize the travel plans, so I can, roughly 2 weeks from today, somewhere in that neighborhood, fly down to Orlando, grab a cooler that's probably going to have a boatload of either dry ice or electrical tape or both, and then take it to a hotel room in Central Florida, not open it, and then have it ready for the drive back from Orlando in a rental car, because I can't put it on another plane. Getting it from Peru to Orlando on a plane, you got to do that. Going from Orlando back to Atlanta, that's driving. That is the plan. When we know our plans, you will know them. But in a perfect world, on the 16th of this month, in 2 weeks, I will be flying to Orlando, Florida after the morning show to connect on the lily pad international airport that is MCO, to get stuff, to have it sit in a cooler so I can put it in a rental car and drive it back to Atlanta for the World Cup final on the 19th. So, yes, travel plans are being adjusted and adjudicated and trying to figure it all out. And when I know what's going to be happening and when it's going to arrive in Orlando, that's when I'm going to book my flight. But my guess is it's going to be Thursday, the 16th, flying down after the morning show, and then driving back from Orlando to let you know what's going on with anything and everything that is Nino the Baker. So follow Nino the Baker on Instagram and lay it all out, so that way you can find out what Nino the Baker and all of the stuff, all the things that is there. All right, so let's catch you up on the matches that we have not had a chance to talk about so far. We will do this. So now, and Alex is like, yeah, and Alex was, when Nino was busting out all of his stats, about everything Harry Kane. Alex making the point, still drops to help others and creates. All of those numbers and still this. And yeah, Abby was mentioning a field of 64. We're going to get there at some point. And you're going to have your growing pains with it. I think 64 should be a limit, but when you have agencies and networks that see dollar signs and financials, then that was what they saw with 48. You can do 64. Might take a little longer in the calendar sense, but it's coming. Much like we know about the 24-team CFP playoff, college football, the CFP college football playoff. 24-team CFP is coming. 64-team World Cup is coming on the men's side. Guarantee it. All right, so we went through the first two games of the action. Yeah, well, the last two. Sorry. The first two we covered were the last two. So let's go back to the first one. And we talked about it a little bit with Nino. And it was DR Congo and England to get you started on your day. Noon kick, team number 4 versus team 46. And early on, DR Congo found a way. And in looking at it, it looked like, and it was a great distraction by Johan Vissa, where 7th minute, Vissa's coming in from the inside left channel, and then what he does is he does an in route. Literally, he does a slant, and he draws center backs to him, and Elliot Anderson gets lost in the sauce. Anderson gets lost, doesn't do anything to react to it. Then Brian Sapenga comes in from behind, and it's 1-0. And that building deflated. It was quiet for a long time. Harry Kane would score in the 75th and the 86th, and we'll get you those highlights coming up in a bit. It is that time where we go from Lima, Peru, to John talking about games, to the suburbs of Seattle, Washington. And we get to catch up with our friend Niko Moreno from Pulso Sports and find out what in the wide world of sports is going on this morning. Good morning, my friend. I know it's always an early wake-up call. How are you?
Man, it's an early wake up. There's early wake up calls, and there are early wake up calls after just day after day after day of just not just covering this amazing World Cup, but man, we were up late rewatching that USA game. Had to do a couple of things for the England game as well, so it was just nonstop, man. But I'm here. I think my voice is starting to clear up. I got my cup of coffee. I'm not looking as sharp as I usually do, but hey, man, we are here with SDH family.
And that's the thing. It's like it is answering the bell. That's what this 7 weeks is all about. Literally, I have slept on average about 4.5 hours a night. I am not a 4.5 hour person. I cannot nap in the daytime, so I am in trouble. And this week was the first week that it hit me that I am in trouble. And I haven't done nights like this back to back since college, and that was back in like 1795. So for me, this is I'm hurting, brother. And I mean, Jason is more insane than the rest of us. And I don't know when he sleeps. I mean, he might take cat naps. I can't do cat naps. I can't do naps at all. I can't nap in the daytime. The only place I really can fall asleep is on an airplane where no one else can fall asleep. But 4.5 hours of sleep, I am on fumes, and we just cleared the halfway point, man.
That's honestly I tip my hat to you guys. I mean, I'm covering only the things that obviously are directly involved in the games in Seattle. I'm always watching all the games and doing a couple of things, but I will say that I have neglected some of my other responsibilities with the Pulso Sports family and some of the scoops that people are waiting for me to have. I have not been on the phones trying to get the transfer rumors because I got just all my resources just completely focused in the World Cup. Contact me maybe after the 6th once the last game happens here in Seattle, of course, when the U.S. takes on Belgium right here. Maybe after that, I'm gonna get back on the MLS track. But for right now, man, I don't have it in me.
No, it's like I got too much stuff here. We're covering everything from Haiti to DR Congo and all points in between. And we had England and DR Congo yesterday to lead off the day. And it was another packed house of 68-239, and it was an insane environment. And it has been some of the loudest stuff that we have heard in a long time in that barn. And when DR Congo scored early, that building got quiet. It got quiet when Brian Sapinga scored. And you could sense the anxiety of all of the England fans every single time that Impasi Enzal would come up with a save, and it would just, they survive at the break, and it's 1-0, and everybody's sitting there going, okay, I'm having people come up to me, and they're asking me, okay, how would you classify this if this sticks? I said, think of it this way, and I don't know if I'm close. Think of it like in the tournament that happens in March and April, involving colleges here in this particular part of the planet. There's a team that goes to Dayton, and they're under 500. And they win in Dayton, and they go into the Thursday matchup or the Friday matchup against the number 1 overall. And they beat the number 1 overall seed in the tournament and send them home. That's what it was feeling like if it was going to play out that way. I know that the folks from DR Congo would sit there and say, well, we're not a 16 seed, and we're not below 500. No, you're not. You're a hell of a team. Don't get me wrong with what Sebastian Desaab has done with DR Congo, with Vissa, and a backline that a lot of folks were kind of sitting there going, hey, wait a minute. This backline's pretty good. Well, you sit there and you go, well, first off, Noah Siddiqui plays in the Premier League, and Aaron Wan-Bissaka plays in the Premier League, and Axel Tuanzebe plays in the Premier League. So 3 of the 4 dudes that are either back there at center back or one of your midfielders, it's the Premier League exposures. You have 4 starters in the Premier League on this roster. So it's not like that you're just wandering into frickin' Ralph's and getting Ralph's brand potato chips. That's not what you're getting here,
Yeah, and Johan Wissa plays in the Premier, and we knew these guys, right? But I was completely amazed by what Impasi was able to do at goal yesterday. I mean, the man put his whole body on the line, and I do mean his whole body on the line for a couple of shots. But, it was just the willingness to have a system that works, put your emotions in check, being able to really outperform, outduel, out physical the opposition. I also think that there were some questionable calls on England starting 11, and I think you saw that once the substitutions came on. I thought Gordon was a guy that should have not been benched, and when he came in, I mean, he essentially is the one who sets up Harry Kane for that first goal.
Yep.
So those are the things that maybe you question, but you can't take anything away from Congo. And I think if this World Cup has taught us anything, is that you can minimize the gap between the bigger nations as long as you understand what makes your team work, what type of system works for your guys, the way that you approach that game, and pragmatism has paid off, for a lot of the time. That's how Paraguay beat Germany, right? And last night's game, Senegal, they had the game on Belgium, right? With, I think at the time, maybe they had 40 or 30% possession, but they were the more dangerous team. I mean, at the end of the day, the XG, for those of you XG fans, I'm not, but it's fine. It was 3.5 XG expected for Senegal, who got 2 goals, and 1.8 for Belgium, that got 3 goals. So I don't know, make it make sense, but that's just the way that game happened. So pragmatism, understanding your system, being able to just forget the hierarchy of certain teams and not seeing a badge that's above you. I feel like I'm seeing that more often in this World Cup. And you've had some really, really good games, from Morocco to Japan, Brazil, to, all of these Paraguay, Germany. All of these games that you've seen are tribute to that.
Yeah, and I think that a lot of folks were sitting there and they were kind of poo-pooing the idea of it going to a 48-team field. Oh, I don't know about this. We're going to get a lot of blowouts. You did get a couple. Curacao,
I was one of those guys.
Yeah. Well, I mean, Curacao, the Curacao-Germany game sticks out, obviously. But remember that Curacao had equalized that game at 1 in Houston. And that building completely and totally turned at that point. Absolutely turned. And you end up with, it was 7-1, but Curacao equalizes in the 20s, and that building freaked. That the whole World Cup covering community, we were like, man, Curaçao's got an equalizer. It's 1-1. Yes, at that point, Germany was like, yeah, okay, we're done here. And then they put the pedal down. They get 6 and they win 7-1. Tunisia, when they got blown out 5-0, there were other issues in play. It wasn't necessarily something where it was they're bad and the other team is just that much better than them. But there were other things at play in Tunisia that created the 5-0 result. And to your point about Germany, it appears that the DFB has told Julian Nagelsmann this morning that he probably should look for other work. So, and that's the polite way of saying it. It's like, bruh, you might want to update your CV. So keep an eye on Germany going forward, because now it might be that Jurgen Klopp might have hit a button with Jurgen Klopp to where he might be the first guy they call. And if you agree to terms, then Klopp would be the one to come in to replace Nagelsmann. So that's all floating out there in the ether this morning. But I think that with a 48-team field, we realized when you have 9 of 10 teams from Africa advance, that the world is a lot smaller than we thought. And the margins are smaller than we thought. And Africa, I think, is that example of that.
I totally agree that, but all of these guys have their jobs on the line. Look, I gotta just tell you how amazed I am. And look, let's start with prefacing the idea that you put on the table, because I was one of those people that did not want the World Cup to have this many teams. I thought that it would dilute the talent level and the competition level to a big degree. As you mentioned, there are going to be blowouts. What are these teams going to be doing in the World Cup stage?
Yeah.
But I find myself not just admitting that I was wrong, but that I was dead wrong. I mean, the storylines that we've seen from Cape Verde to Curacao to just seeing the fan bases be so proud in the global stage, and all they want to do is just wave their flags and chant their songs and put on their jerseys, and then the soccer on the field has been phenomenal. And as I mentioned, regardless of the fashion that they decide to approach, not everybody needs to be tiki-taka. Not everybody needs to do the European style of play. I mean, you could just have your own way to just give your team the best chances to win. So it's been amazing. And all that to say that yesterday at Seattle Stadium, watching Senegal, it was like everybody in that stadium that maybe wasn't already going for Senegal, all the neutrals, they were going for Senegal. I mean, there was a Senegal chant that hit so loud when Belgium finally equalized, and I think everybody wanted to see Senegal go through, and they're just trying to show support and trying to get this team to react. That it was so phenomenal. So I really appreciate this new format, and I think that it's given a lot of opportunity for all different nations and for everyone to just kind of get in touch and maybe get that little mosquito bite of the soccer and the beautiful game, and everybody's interested, everybody's intrigued. So I absolutely love it.
So we had the early game, you had the middle game, the late game in quotation marks was in Santa Clara, and San Francisco Bay Area, and no, it was Santa Clara. It was in Santa Clara, and the U.S. and U.S. was we started the show with talking about the U.S. in hour number 1, and now that you've had the chance to kind of work your way through it, we went through the dynamics of the red card and Falarin Balogun, but we've also been discussing the idea that Mauricio Pochettino has said this group is a family. and you view things as a family. And when you have things going through that prism, you feel for your brother, you're there for your brother, you navigate with your brother, you come out the other side. And we saw a lot of that in this match where Bosnia Herzegovina, they weren't putting anything on target. They were just kind of, ready to try to figure out something in transition and have one of their redwoods try to blow up Tyler Adams and try to figure out what to do on a set piece. Short of the Olympico, I really can't think of a whole lot of opportunities that Bosnia and Herzegovina had, period, in this match. So it was their notion, at least from my perspective, try to out-physical the United States, come up with short fields, not really have a whole lot of possession. Ball's got cooties. We don't want it. We'll take it from you, and then we'll try and be clinical and score. But you had the United States navigate through all of that, had one goal early that was called offside. It was from Flair and Balogun. And Balogun gets the one goal, and then they have to navigate with 10. So Balogun ends up being this focal point of this match on a bunch of different fronts. What were your takeaways when you were looking at the match that was in Santa Clara last night?
Yeah, look, it was just as you mentioned and as we expected, right? This Bosnia Herzegovina team was going to try to fight you for every blade of grass that you stepped on. And they were going to be a collective group that was not going to risk a lot. They were going to play the long game. They were not going to meet you halfway to make this a foot race. I thought that they did a good job at muddying the game to a certain extent, and that's obviously to their purposes. They did make it a little bit difficult at times, specifically getting closer to that second half, where maybe the U.S. was unable to be as dangerous as they were in that first half, where you don't just get a goal, but you get one taken off because of an offside position. You get a shot that hit the crossbar. I mean, this U.S. men's team in the first half, they were really, really able to play their game. Maybe it wasn't to the level of that Paraguay performance. And I think it's normal because of the stage of the tournament that you're in and the rival that you had in front that is win or go home. I have nothing to lose. I'm going to play this way. They surprised me with the back line of three, which I think worked out well for them, specifically going late into the game. Now, can we attribute that to Balogun being sent off? Absolutely, right? I mean, that just changed the whole game. It changed the dynamic, just the attitude of the team. You could see going into that hydration break that the team was just trying to figure it out. And Ricardo Pepi comes in. But this is my real conclusion of that game. In order to be a Cinderella story and in order to get far in a World Cup, you got to be able to get through the dramatics and the sort of games that are going to push you to your limit. And this team was able to keep the clean sheet. They were able to get through a questionable call and one that affects the team in this matchup and the next, which is already in Mauricio Pochettino and all of these guys' minds. So I praise them for it because they were able to defend themselves with possession when they needed to. They were able to play well in set pieces, which is what Bosnia Herzegovina was looking to approach to regain control of that game. I thought that they were excellent when it came to their press and their repress. They created several moments in transition. So to me, it's a hell of a performance. Not in the level of maybe having a team that dominated space the way they did in that first game, but it was kind of a in between of that Australia game where you just bullied that Australia team and that first game where you understood that you were just the better team on the ball. I thought the triangulations on the midfield were excellent. I thought Weston McKennie had a hell of a game, but Timothy Tillman, man, it's not just the phenomenal goal that he put in right off of a free kick, but just his two-way ability has grown with Mauricio Pochettino. I don't know if it's the confidence that Mauricio has given him. I don't know if it's the setup next to Tyler Adams, but he has pushed the level of the ceiling that I thought he had, and he has been just a phenomenal player. When Balogun goes down, he's the player that I think shifts into a different gear. And he understands that he's got to do more. He's got to create more opportunities. He's got to track more farther. So to your point, this group is so cemented. They're so unified that they feel like that family. And just like Mauricio Pochettino told you before this game, this is our World Cup final. And the next game is going to be our World Cup final. And the next game is going to be our World Cup final. And I saw that. I absolutely saw that from this team.
Then for the teams that, well, I guess we can cover both sides here. El Tri goes up against Ecuador. And we had seen what Sebastian Becasese has been able to build through the group stage and to get them into the knockouts. Because I know that early on, everybody was kind of sitting there and going, eh. And after match day 2, Becasese, and we still have it was a 3-minute, it was a very impassioned response to a question about, a lot of folks are sitting there saying, you don't need to be here. And so he was trying to express patience. Got that. He got the result from his team. He got the big result against Germany, gets into the knockouts. And, oh, by the way, you're going to the Azteca to take on Mexico. So Becasese, I don't know what it was, but it just looked like Mexico turned into a buzzsaw. And it was just that day for them going up against Ecuador. Nothing Ecuador could do was going to be right. Mexico ends up just taking full advantage. And at points, it looked like it was going to be a color your own adventure book as to how many goals Mexico could score. They stuck with 2 in those conditions. And by the end of it all yesterday, it was announced that Sebastian Becasese is now looking for a new gig. When you look at El Tri and then when you look at Becasese, and if you even want to include Marcelo Bielsa into this in Uruguay and all the others, what has gone into your what are you thinking about here with Central and South America in the tournament?
Before I praise Mexico for having the best performance of their World Cup run so far, I will say that Becasese had lost the fan base already.
Oh, wow.
And it's unfortunate because, as I've said in this show 1,000 times, South American soccer passion a lot of times surpasses humanity and simple understanding of that's not just a soccer coach, it's a human being. And his wife had been attacked, like verbally, that she had gotten into it with several Ecuadorian fans, specifically after the Curacao game. And you could kind of see all that wearing him down. And even after the Germany game, that was a historic win, that should have been a day of celebration, I could still feel like he knew it wasn't quite over.
Yeah.
And does this Ecuador team have a lot of talent? Absolutely. They have a lot of quality players, but there was an understanding that I thought I had and everybody had, that on offense, they lacked a little bit of punch. So going into this Mexico game, that was my big question mark, right? This team, solid in the back line, very good in midfield, not so much up top. But the reality is that Mexico took it to you from the very beginning, and they had their best performance because the intensity level was higher than in any of those games. And you hit first and you did not stop hitting. Talking about Mexico, they exposed the flanks. They made Pacho and Hincapié uncomfortable the entire game. They had them on their heels. Julian Quiñones, who I am so happy for him to have gotten this opportunity with Mexico because he's such a talented soccer player, breakup player for Mexico. He was unbelievable, just coming from the outside channels back inside, the goal that he gets. I mean, the way that he accelerates to that ball on that first goal, the way that he gets into the 18, the way that he creates his own space and then puts the ball in the back of the net, that's a phenomenal goal, right? And you could have as much talent as you can, but when you have a player that understands momentum and understands how to attack your back line, sometimes you just got to just tip your hat. So Ecuador fans were losing their mind because they thought that going into this game, at the very least, you were going to push it to PKs or extra time because you had such a solid back line. I thought that Pedro Vite and Caicedo, they had very irregular games, specifically moving forward. They were doing a lot of defending, a lot of tracking back, but they were not getting into the offensive spaces that they should have. So I just don't know if the whole team was bought in on Becasese, and if everything that had already happened before that had taken some of that belief. But no matter what, Mexico was better throughout the entirety of that game. They were better on offense, they were better on defense. They were dominating set pieces, which was crazy to me because I thought that Ecuador, at the very least, because of their size and their talent level, was going to have that on lock, but they didn't. So credit to Aguirre for putting these guys at the right time. Gil Mora had a phenomenal game as well. I thought that he was creative. He was difficult to contain. He was getting so many good looks. If he puts that goal that he curls onto the top shelf on in that first half, man, that kid would have been $3 million worth more than he is now. So just overall, the team just had a phenomenal game, and they are looking like at Estadio Azteca, they can't be beaten, right? They haven't lost. They haven't received the goal, if I'm not mistaken. They haven't lost in El Azteca, I don't know, since like 2023. I mean, 2013. There's like a stat that is unreal.
I'll give you one. Mexico have lost only 2 games at the Azteca in 56 years.
There you go.
England's going to have to be at their best 2,200 meters above sea level. So they have lost twice. Twice. Since 1970, they have lost twice at the Azteca.
Yeah, so Mexico turned me into a believer, man. I mean, obviously I had the with my heart in my heart, right? I got my wife, my kids are, have Mexicans, so I was obviously rooting for Mexico. But now they're turning into believers on the soccer sense. And after what I saw from England, which I don't know if they, they got to get out of their own way in some way. But I mean, I think it's going to be a hell of a game. I mean, it's going to be a battle. It's going to be a Mexican fist fight, where you're going to just exchange in the middle of the ring. And I'm excited for it.
Triple A is what it's going to be, brother. That's what it's going to be. It's going to be, you want Lucha Libre? You're going to get that at the Azteca, brother. That's going to be some stuff. You mentioned what is going on with you. So for those that wish to partake and find out what is going on with you and everything up there at Q13 and Fox Seattle, what is going on? Folks need to know about, sir.
Absolutely. We have on Friday, I will have another Football HQ participation, which I believe is from 2 to 3. I will be next week on Monday, of course, at the stadium, which apparently now will also have the commander-in-chief. So I will be arriving to the stadium maybe 4 hours in advance because it's going to be insane on Monday. I'm going to have a pregame show with Fox 13. I will absolutely have the postgame as well. So go ahead and check that out. We are going to be doing a What We Learned This Week also with Jeremiah Oshan because we're trying to regain some ground, getting closer to the MLS season because the Sounders will play the Timbers in their first game. So we're going to talk, obviously, what really matters, which is that USA versus Belgium game. We're going to talk a little bit about the experience that we've had overall here with the fans. And we're going to touch some things on the Sounders. So go ahead and wait for that as well. And then on Monday, Love and Scorchers kickoff with Ari Leland Wall, where we'll break down everything, all the craziness from the weekend. And of course, will be the preview to that USA versus Belgium as well.
And we will have you back in a week's time where we will both be as coherent as we are now to discuss said match. And heading into the round of 8 after that. You're on your first cup of coffee, or are you on your second?
I'm on my first, man. I'm telling you, I woke up and I was like, man, I gotta get a cup of coffee. I gotta try to figure out my voice. Cause man, I think I did like maybe like 2-3 hours of talking yesterday.
Yeah.
So different segments, different shows, different things, pre-game, post-game. I mean, it was a lot going. So I felt it this morning.
Yeah. Traditional medicinals, throat coat tea. That's what I use. And in the days like this where you're talking all the time, there's nothing wrong with low gear. There's nothing wrong climbing the mountain when you're going past the Boeing facility and you're heading into downtown. There's nothing wrong with going up that hill in a low gear. So
I like that.
That's
Hit that cruise control. I dig it.
Finish your first cup of coffee, but yeah, traditional medicinals, throat coat tea, and take it with you on set. So you will have it with you, especially when you're hanging out with Ron and Q13. As always, my friend, it's great to see you. Love as always from this coast to your coast, and we will catch up with you after USA and Belgium, brother. That's going to be fun. Just go enjoy the rest of your day. Catch your breath a little bit. We'll catch up with you on the flip side.
Appreciate you, boss.
There he goes, Niko Moreno. And all right, so where were we? We need to. We got stuff out of Major League Soccer we got to get into. This basically came across the desk, and so I feel like we need to discuss it. And I've got to find my drop. Here we go. If I could hit it, you hit the button and it doesn't want to respond. How about now? Austin FC has traded Danny Pereira to CF Montreal for up to $2.35 million in GAM. Austin gets $2.1 million guaranteed GAM, could conditionally receive an additional $250, as well as retaining a sell-on percentage of a potential future transfer. So here's the rundown. Austin gets a lot of GAM. Danny Pereira, midfielder, goes to CF Montreal, $1.4 million in 26 GAM. 700,000 27 GAM, and up to 250,000 in conditional GAM. Austin gets a sell-on fee. Interim head coach Davy Arnaud had a quote, 2 paragraphs long. Danny Pereira had a couple of quotes, 2 paragraphs long. Austin FC selected Pereira first overall pick of the 21 Super Draft. Spent his first 5.5 years in the Verde and Black, 6 plus 23 in 165 appearances, all comps. Assist total tied for second most, and his appearance total ranks as third most all time. So once again, Danny Pereira goes from Austin to CF Montreal, $1.4 million in 2026 GAM, 700,000 27 GAM, up to 250 in conditional GAM, and Austin gets a sell-on fee in the future. So that is news out of Austin. Mauricio Cuevas was transferred from LAG to Santos Laguna in exchange for an undisclosed transfer fee. And once again, we're going to keep an eye on stuff with Diego Luna. RSL needed an international roster slot, I imagine, after picking up Sabalo Janidze from Atlanta United, and they got it from Austin FC, and it's a 26 international slot for $235,000 in 2026 GAM. The international roster slot expires at the end of the calendar year, and so that's why I imagine it is for Sabalo Janidze. So that is where that is. And that is the MLS stuff that came across our desk as we were talking. Okay, so getting into all the things. So we were getting into the England match. After the match, in the mixed zone, it was Anthony Gordon and it was Harry Kane. But first and foremost, let's give you the game-winning goal, courtesy of our friends at Telemundo.
El uno de la República Democrática del Congo, creo que son 3 el pelotazo, golazo, golazo, gol. ¡Qué gol! ¡Recontra golazo! ¡Inglaterra! A sacar pasaje para Ciudad de México. 2-1.
Ya vemos al auxiliar de Tuchel con la mano en alto, diciendo faltan 5. Qué delantero, por Dios, qué goleador. Harry Kane al rescate de esta Inglaterra.
And there you go. There's your winner. So Harry Kane gets the Duke on that one, and Anthony Gordon comes in, instant impact with the assist, and England moves on. Now, Let's get you into what to watch, where to watch it, and no, we did gossip, rumor, and innuendo, because everything else is today. It's on Fox, Big Fox, Fox ONE, Peacock. It's all there, and FS1. FS1 has the late game, 3 and 7 on Big Fox, 11 o'clock on FS1. So let's get you into the gossip, rumor, and innuendo. Any other news that's fit to print before we get out of here? And reminder, we will. I'll let you know. Jason and AST, we'll get into that in a bit. So we'll let you know the times on that tonight, and we will go forward from there. So we got Fernandez, we got Tonali, we got all of those. All right, so we got all of the early big signings, and so we will see what the latest is. Where's all my gossip rumor innuendo? Okay, here we go. No, I don't want that. What I want is this. Okay. So, rumors as they are trending. AC Milan considering a move for Virgil van Dijk this summer, according to Gazzetta dello Sport. Milan Chiefs are discussing the feasibility of a deal which has been described as complicated due to the finances involved and the possibility Liverpool would not be open to an exit. And that would be making it complicated, yes. Bournemouth striker Junior Krupi's emerged as a key target for Spurs as they continue their spending spree, according to Miguel Delaney in The Independent. Fee of over 80 million is required pounds to get his signature with competition from Arsenal and PSG. Independent also claims that Milan winger Rafa Leao is an option. Under consideration for the left wing, 4-letter paper, Cody Gakpo and Savinho options. Spurs not done, looking to sign James Trafford for Manchester City. Looks set to leave just after a year of joining the club with Donnarumma's arrival. Trafford would battle Dubravka, Kinski, and Vicario. Vicario, however, set to leave. Real Madrid's midfielder Eduardo Camavinga has been in talks with Manchester City, according to Marca, linked with a 60 million euro exit as they undergo a transformation within the squad under new boss Jose Mourinho, and looking for another option in the midfield following the deal to sign Elliot Anderson. Tonali linked, joining Spurs, though. Lille teenager Ayoub Bouadi has also been on City's radar. Team Talk says Bournemouth have told Arsenal, Liverpool, and Manchester United they're not going to sanction a summer exit for Alex Scott. Not open to a move, contract until 28. Teams are looking to tempt him, and Bournemouth wants to sign him to an extension. We mentioned Elliot Anderson. We mentioned Hayden Hackney. We mentioned Mateus Fernandes. Spurs announced the signing of Mateus Fernandes, £85 million, and that's $20 million more than their transfer record in the past. Mentioned Fernandez, Luka Vuskovic. Brighton have agreed to a £46 million fee plus another $4 to sign him from Spurs. Never made a senior appearance for Spurs. Joined Hamburg on a season-long loan after agreeing to an initial £12 million move from Hajduk Split in 23. Atletico de Madrid set to complete the €45 million signing of Martin Hjulmand from Sporting CP. That's why I wanted to get into with Nino. Got an agreement with him from the Danish international. It's from AS. Team Talk. Chelsea in advanced talks to sign Rayo Vallecano defender Pep Chavarria. Deal now close on the left back. The Athletic, David Ornstein et al. Newcastle have reached an agreement to sign Hoffenheim and Ivory Coast winger Bazumana Toure on a long-term deal to replace Anthony Gordon. Jurgen Klopp has an exit clause in his contract with Red Bull Group that can be triggered if he wants to become the Germany national team boss. That's from Florian Plettenberg. Ekrem Konur, Bayern monitoring a possible deal to sign Vinicius Jr. in the summer as he enters the final year of his deal. Ollie Watkins has emerged as a potential transfer target for Fenerbahce. Talks for the Villa striker not expected until after the World Cup with England. And Nicolas Shearer has Juve keeper Michele Di Gregorio willing to stay at the club despite links with a possible exit. And the Bianconeri are still open to offers. So that is the rundown of all of your gossip, rumor, and innuendo. So let's see if anything has changed in the juice boxes. 3 o'clock, Spain minus 345, so not really. Portugal a minus 137, Croatia's a plus 440. Portugal looks like they might have slightly been more favorited. And Switzerland from even money plus 100, they're now on the minus side at a minus 110. Draws a plus 229, and Algeria to win is a plus 359. We know what city and what state will be rooting for Algeria later today. What have I missed? Let's see. Thanks to Bart Keeler for dropping in and doing so in the emergency setting of what happened last night. And it was great, the fantastic crowd. It was wall-to-wall people last night in Decatur at Decatur Watch Fest. So kudos to how it's been structured. And they're doing a fantastic job. We've caught up with them twice. We'll catch up with them after everything is done, and we'll have a bit of a post-mortem there. And we'll find out what is the latest with everything involving Decatur Watch Fest and successes and what they've learned, all of that stuff coming up in a bit. Reminder, the Medio is up and running on the Discord for Picks of the Week. We are, how many matches in? So U.S. was a win, so that was at a minus 258. So 3-1. Then today, Portugal and Croatia is on the board, and Mexico knocked off Ecuador. So right now, we have 5 of the 8 matches from this week's Medio completed. Portugal and Croatia is on the board. Then we have 2 tomorrow, the Egypt match and the Colombia and Ghana. Tiebreaker is how many saves is Vozinha going to have against Argentina? So that's the Medio. And then once the Medio is done, keep an eye out Saturday for Medio week number 4. And we will run through that. We might end up having to go props. We may end up doing some questions that are attached one way or the other to the games themselves as they become less and less in number. So that is the rundown there. Oh, I was going to let you know about Atlanta soccer tonight. That's what I was going to do. Okay, so before we get out of here, Atlanta soccer tonight. And if you have not subscribed to Morning Espresso presented by our friends at Kaiser Permanente, please do. You can go to soccerdownhere.net. Scroll down a little bit, middle of the page, and it is an opportunity for you to get the morning newsletter. It's our newspaper. It is our newspaper, and we let you know what's going on in and around the world. So tonight, 92.9 The Game, 10 o'clock, recapping today, looking ahead to tomorrow. Argentina and Colombia, round of 32 action. That is tomorrow. So 92.9 The Game, 10 o'clock, 10 to 11 on 92.9 The Game. Over air, Odyssey app, 929thegame.com. 11 o'clock stoppage time, and that is on the 92.9 The Game YouTube channel. Once again, the three-dimensional experience. YouTube, over air, Odyssey app, 10 to 11. YouTube, 11 to midnight, and Jason will have that all squared away for you there. So that is another go-round of SDH AM during the World Cup. Brought to you by our friends at Telemundo Deportes. Thanks to Bart for coming in an emergency. Thanks to Nino Torres. Thanks to Niko Moreno. Thanks to all of y'all for hanging out with us. Thanks, morning Wiley, morning Abby, morning Alex. I'm trying to see if there's anything else. We have talked a little bit about it, Wiley. We haven't had a chance to get into it in depth when it comes to Saba and everything going forward with him. And let's see. So, Abby, morning OG. We got nothing going on here. Nothing going on whatsoever. It is very, very one-dimensional. And morning Turner. Morning Turner. Glad you guys were in. So don't be strangers, and glad you guys were having great conversations with us and with each other all as you do all morning long. So because it is the end of the show, that means one thing. I got to do this. AST tonight, 10 o'clock, back here, 9:05 in the morning. Ali Howarth is going to join us, and our friends from Apple TV set to join us as well. Mucha Platiel plate safe end of the show. That means I get to do this.